Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime co-host Miss Purrington. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. You can keep up with us on Twitter and Instagram at Comedy Wham or on our Comedy Wham Facebook page. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our new column Rochelle Takes on Comedy, and our monthly Comedy Wham showcase at Hops and Time in Lakeway on First Tuesdays. Have you checked out our newly renovated events page for live shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW? If you're a comic in those cities and want your show featured on the calendar, go to the events page and click Submit a Show to complete the short survey. If you like the new survey, send us a quick review and we'll share your review and promo your show on Instagram. Looking for ways to support all these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Search for Comedy Wham on Patreon and check out our subscriber perks. Now let's get back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the podcast project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and we usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, we are talking to somebody who is originally from New Jersey, but she's now an Austin, Texas-based voice actor and business owner. She records everything from romance novels to educational content for children. Her company, Made It Media? We'll get a correction on how to pronounce that. With actors to help them break into the world of voiceovers. A world that I will never be able to join based on this read. She is part of the musical duo The Two Jills, which you can see performing all around town. Her album, we're about to reveal the name here. Her album, Wake Up Maggie, is out now, and it's filled with musical and comedic goodness. She will be joining our Best of Comedy Wham Showcase at Hops and Time Anniversary Show on April 5th. There's more. She is the star of the movie Self-Isolated, which is an indie thriller. And who doesn't love a good pandemic thriller? She is one of the most positive humans I've ever encountered, so prepare for the love fest. Now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Maggi Mayfield.
Hi, I can't even take it. That was like the best, longest intro I've ever had ever. You make me sound so cool. I'm not even that cool.
I was so self-conscious about all the flubs.
Really?
I told you before recording that I was so nervous about my equipment because I know you're so into voice acting and voiceover coaching, and here I am what?
Oh my God. You want to know what's so funny about? You know what I say all the time to people? I'm like,
what?
You're doing it. There's so many people that wish they would do it, and you're doing it.
Yeah,
Who am I to judge? I don't care. You're doing it. There's room for everybody.
Guess.
No, there's room for everybody.
Yeah,
and you're
I am doing it.
No, your equipment is beautiful. It is amazing. I saw on Pinterest. Okay, so here's where I get a little weird about stuff. So all the wires and stuff.
Yeah.
This is exactly how mine is. And maybe 2 weeks ago, I finally went to the dollar store and bought a basket and some sticky tape to put under my desk so I could lift all the cords so they're not on the floor, just so I could vacuum. Because I'll sit there and work on the website on my computer, and it's just there's crumbs and just crap under there, and I'm I'm a grown woman. I gotta clean up my shit.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Okay.
Absolutely. This is any language is possible here. Well, not any language, within reason.
No, but literally, this is me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how I started? I started with a USB mic. These are even nicer. These mics that you have. This Altron PFO6. They're beautiful, right? Yeah. I had a USB mic, so it just went right directly into your computer. And then I put it in a tub that you would put Christmas decorations in, and then I lined that with mattress topper. My whole setup probably cost me $110. $110. You know what I mean? So that's how it started, and it's taken me years to get to this level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. Yeah. And I know I could go further, but I'm just I just gotta make money right now.
The mic's bought on resale, but I am so in love with these mics. This brand, the warm sound that it gives is way better than the cheap little condenser mics.
You know
But I
what?
bought them on resale. So
Yeah, and we could talk gear all day, but nobody
Yeah.
cares about that. Whatever.
Nobody-
They're
no,
just like,
really,
tell
they
me all the cool things that are happening in Austin.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Maggie, I know you know nothing about the Comedy Wham Presents podcast, so I'm gonna start with an icebreaker question.
Okay.
One word to describe your past.
My past? Ooh. One word. Yes. Yes.
That makes sense.
Does it?
You were born and raised in New Jersey?
Yeah, till I was 15.
Wow.
And then my parents separated when I was 12. And so after the divorce was final, my mom was like, I hate New Jersey. And she moved us to California where I finished high school out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Culture shock much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could hear I have some good friends that are New Jersey based, and I can just softly hear it would be
yeah.
so easy for you, I imagine, to drop
Get me drunk.
into that
Yeah,
New
get me
Jersey.
drunk. Yeah. Want to play a softball tournament? Yeah. I can't help it. I can't even help it.
You seem like you've always been a performer. You seem always on.
Oh my
Is that-
God. Are you my therapist right now? This is what it feels like. Yes.
Free. It's
yeah.
free therapy.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I got the chocolate.
I know. Just missing tissues. I didn't bring tissues. Listen, I cry a lot, every
okay.
day. I was
All
literally
right.
crying on the way over here. I was like,
That's a
Valerie's going to be like,
challenge. That's my challenge. All right, let's do it.
she's going to be like, what's wrong with you? Why is your makeup all running? I'm glad there's not a camera in here right now. It's just sad. Listen, aren't comedians the saddest people? Isn't that?
Some.
Yeah.
I don't want to generalize.
Valerie's like, I'm not sad.
Yeah.
Don't put me in that. I've got Miss Purrington here. We're fine. We're good. I envy you. Listen, I literally think about this is going on. Listen, I just talk all the time now.
Okay.
And I'm old enough now where I'm if I just cry and you're around, you're dealing with it. And if you don't want to deal with it, we got 40 more minutes on this podcast. I'm out, I have been thinking about death so much lately.
Oh, boy.
Right? Is that a normal thing that people think about? I just can't stop. I don't know where it's come. I know exactly where it came from.
Okay.
My aunt passed away last year, and then I went to Paris earlier this year and saw the catacombs
Yeah.
in Paris, and it's nothing but bone. If you've never been, it is disturbing as hell. If you're one of those people that are like, I don't want to wear a mask, you want to wear a mask when you're down there because it's all bones from the plague, and you're like, I feel safe. It was an experience. And I thought, oh my God, there's just millions and millions of body, just miles upon
crazy.
miles
Yeah.
of bones. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It was life-changing for me. I can't stop thinking about it.
I went with my then, 11-year-old son.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, this is all I was born in Belgium. So
I didn't know
Belgium,
that.
Paris,
Yeah.
France, all of that is
Brussels was beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. Part of me wanting to hit you up for an interview is not just because you're accomplished, but I'm like, damn, that trip was good.
Oh, wow, thank you.
You hit the spots. I
Yeah.
was so happy you hit Brussels too.
It was amazing.
But yeah, we went there with him, and for me, it's this is just all part of the history. They view things so differently from us Americans,
So
our
different.
corny Americans. But
Did you just say horny or
corny?
Oh.
Corny.
I was like,
I mean,
I think you have that
the
reversed.
French are
but
very horny.
They are very.
Billboards with boobs out, not a problem over there.
No, yeah. There were boobs everywhere.
Yeah, but it was tough on him. And
see all the
he's
bones?
he's very stoic. But, I was okay because I'm just like, wow, this is amazing.
It was that.
But yes, it's very thought-provoking to realize, oh, this is how they dealt with this problem. They preserved this moment in history.
Yeah.
Rather than, there's so many options. You could have burnt them.
Right.
You could have just,
Fed them to the pigs. Yeah.
hidden it away.
You know what one of my first thoughts when we came back up to the surface was, I was like, can you imagine being the guy that found that after they forgot about it for a couple hundred years?
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, I found some bones down here.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? Found a body? That's crazy. No. More than that.
Yeah, hell of a Law and Order episode.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't do this.
Yeah, and we're actually glossing over the fact that that wasn't the first place that you faced like mortality when you were over there in Europe. Because first
you're right.
and I don't remember which camp.
Yeah, you're so right that you said that. We went to the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin.
Okay.
That was a heavy day. It was a
Yeah.
really heavy day. I've got Jewish roots in my family, and then of course we did the Berlin Wall, which too is just so eye opening. I was alive during that time, so it didn't make the history books for me as a kid when the wall came down. So it wasn't history enough yet to be taught.
Yeah.
So I was learning for the first time like what that was for people. That was a heavy weekend. It was a very heavy weekend. And it was weird because I thought about like, oh man, we were so obsessed with pictures and like maybe we shouldn't be taking so many pictures. It's like, no, one of the biggest things that in the Holocaust Memorial they were talking about was like, no, we lost all that stuff. We lost all those photos and they didn't have the same technology that we do, but it's like, yeah, your cloud could disappear at any second, like it could be gone.
Yeah.
Take the photo, like enjoy it. You're
Yeah.
allowed to enjoy it.
Yeah, and then reflect on it. I mean, that's all you can do. And man, I think my job is an actuary, so I think about mortality all the time because it's my job.
Oh, wow.
It's like part of what I do. And
Okay.
then,
So this isn't weird then. This is
so not weird.
Okay.
Yeah, and then our family has been hit by mortality in ways that are, they resonate, all the time. So it's like, ugh. You're going to make me cry now.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
it's just
fine.
weird. Like you see all those bones and you're like, what is this what it's for? Is this what we're doing this
Yeah.
for? So that skulls can be put in some like weird heart shape for me to take Instagram later.
Yeah,
Like
right. I mean, that's what people who may be hearing this and have no concept of what this, I don't want to call it a tourist attraction. It is.
it really is it is.
They
though.
have formed the bones in these patterns and shapes, and it's like, they put a lot of thought into.
There was a lot of
the way-
forethought into
yeah.
it. They were just bored at some point. They're like, well, what if we made art out of it? I guess we do that too, like I was cleaning my apartment this morning and there was some like indie punk song that came on that I remember from being in the early 2000s and I just lost my shit. I was just crying. I was like, if I die or if you die, like I will follow you into the dark. I was like, oh, I get it now. I get what this is about. I'm just like thinking about my aunt who passed away and my uncle who's like trying to live his life. I'm like, that's sad. It's just sad. I don't know. I can't stop thinking about it. And so now I'm like just Googling like death art and death poems. Like it's weird. It is so weird. And it's like invasive and new.
Yeah.
And I worry for my comedy where this is gonna go. Because I feel like I'm very, like you said, like positive and upbeat. And I'm just, is it gonna take a dark turn? I don't know. It's all so fresh. But so.
Yeah. But sometimes it has to, as a comic, you develop different voices over the course of your career. I've watched it happen, especially with younger, like newer comics.
Yeah.
It's like, they all start, here I was admonishing you for generalization. They all start talking about dick and boobs, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually
all
they
do.
figure out, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is what I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
And then it changes over their career.
Do you think that happened for you?
Well, I've had to put a pin on like actually doing comedy for the COVID times, basically. I tried a little bit, but it was just very difficult because I've got a son and there's not a backup for, keeping an eye on him. We're getting to the stage and he's like 2 years away from college. So I'm counting down to some extent to being able to go back. I've always been very dick and balls oriented.
Yeah.
And I'm a mathematician, so I kind of want to make mine
Yes.
a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
But I don't think by the time by the time COVID hit, I was probably 3 years in. So I really hadn't gotten to that point where I could say,
Yeah.
all right, my voice needs to change, because I was still figuring out and would still be figuring out, who I am on stage.
Yeah. That's so insightful. Yeah. I love how you put that very eloquently.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's easy because you're just figuring out like how to stand on stage, which is the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, like how does an audience see me, right? And that's
Yeah.
before you even open your mouth.
Right.
And then you have to learn how to like structure a joke, set up punchlines, set up, you know what I mean?
Right.
Eric Andre says it the best. He's like, words, 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 punchline. You know, like it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and everyone has a different cadence, and everyone has a different rhythm and a different perspective. But it's like, yeah. And and everybody does that. Everybody does. I'm not generalizing, but everybody imitates until they find,
Yeah.
their own voice.
Right. Right. So, when I get back, my voice is very definitely the nerdy mathematician who wants to have a dirty sense of humor, but is also very old. So, she doesn't care.
That's quite a brand.
Yeah. It's going to be really tough to fit on a sticker when I get to the merch stage of my career.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do for Austin comedy. I mean, you really do a lot between everything on the website, the podcast, the showcases. Like, you're out often. I mean, you're such a supporter.
I am. And it's tough, but I do love, like, I went to a show last night, and this is a comic who came through for Austin for a tour that she's taking around the country, and it's Kara Connors, and she had booked Angelina as her opener, and I love Angelina, and she was on my showcase a few months ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I saw her when she was first starting. And through COVID, I never got to see her. And then I got to see her on my showcase. I'm like, oh my God, she's blossomed.
Yay.
It's so beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And then I saw her last night, and it was so fun at the Fallout. They come out of the green room.
Yeah.
And there's all these people waiting to talk to both of them. And it warms my heart when they make a beeline for me. The hugs happen, and they're like, thank you for supporting. And I'm happy to offer words of praise to anyone. I will offer words of criticism behind the scenes, off recording, but words of praise, that's my language.
Praise in public, criticize in private, for sure. No, but and I think it's so important to be a fan of your friends too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we forget that.
Yeah.
We get so warped in our own little bubble. It's like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not funny. I'm not talented. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, stop for 1 second and like, go support your friends. You know, it's so important.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't do enough going out to see shows, but...
Are you kidding me?
No, going out, in that narrow area of going out and seeing new comics and new voices. But I know what I'm offering to the scene. And it's not just me, by the way. It is Richard, who does web stuff.
Thank you, Richard.
I just feel like this is me growing. This has really turned into a therapy session.
Yeah.
It never feels like I can do enough.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing enough.
Yeah.
But there's only 24 hours in a day. And
it's the worst. It's a curse.
Yeah.
What the hell? And then we get older and it just goes faster.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And then, if you're an A personality type, who type A, it's like, I got this to-do list. It's got to get done.
Yeah.
No sleep.
Do you do that? Do you put a to-do list?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was something that I learned from somebody a few years ago. I had never used a written calendar. It was always an online calendar. I am obsessed with calendars. I would say that is my obsession.
That's your thing. Okay.
In the kitchen, it's not a big kitchen. I have 2 calendars.
Oh, yeah.
I have my digital calendar.
On your phone.
Which I pay for an app to do that. And then I have my paper calendar. And the paper calendar at my desk is like a lifeline. And the reason that I decided to do a paper calendar at my desk is somebody said, you may have all these other resources for, keeping track of your things, your events, the online calendar, whatever. But there's such great value to writing down your to-do list, because then you can look back and you can say, well, if I had a goal at the beginning of the year to do this thing, by looking back, you can say, you took these baby steps to get to that thing. Even if you didn't get to that thing, that big thing, you look at these baby steps that you were able to check off the list.
I love that.
And so I decided, that was going to be my thing. So anytime I think, I feel like I haven't moved forward, I can say, but look at
I love that. I love that.
So for anybody that is goal oriented, that is a great lesson, because it gives you an opportunity to look backwards and realize you are moving forward. You're accomplishing things. If you check off, clean the litter box. Hey,
Did it.
At least you did it.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know about you, but like I do fight depression often. And sometimes just the nicest thing I can do to myself, I'm like, I took a shower today and that was enough,
Yeah.
But changing a litter box, that's like
That's a whole thing.
that's a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's, oof.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think that's important. And it does help to see, and it accumulate. You know what I mean? It does add up. Like those little things add up.
Yeah.
All steps forward.
So Maggie, I think we have done such a great job of exposing a little bit of what your personality is like a very generous, very positive,
Really just dark.
a hint of darkness, obsession with mortality.
This
lately.
is recent. It's a very new
Yeah,
thing. It's
yeah,
so
of late,
new.
Yeah. I want to find out about how you got to us today by talking about what you were like as a child or a kid, somebody growing up, as far as this performance thing, because it does feel like it's just a very natural part of you.
It's so funny that you say that. Oh
Were
my
you
God.
like a shy kid?
Yes. But I was always in orchestra, in choir. I was always on stage. I can remember playing the pretzel girl in the kindergarten Christmas play. You know what I mean? Like I was always on stage. And yeah, I think, I don't know how to say this without like making my family sound like crap, because they're not. Like,
Yeah.
but my grandmother was the reason that the family was together, and she passed away when I was very, very young. And there was definitely a void in there, and you could tell that it hurt my parents when she passed away. Aunts and uncles all of a sudden were no longer around, and there was a void, and it was like, oh, someone's got to keep everyone together. And I think that I was that glue. And I hear this often as an adult, like, you're so much like your Grandma Joan, you're so much like your grandma, And I think subconsciously, I don't think at 9 or 10 years old I was trying to like keep the family together, but I think there was an element of like, stay in the room longer, everybody, like keep the house, keep the home, keep the family close together. And if I could do that by singing a song or doing a dance or making a piece of art or whatever it was, like, that was me.
Yeah.
I don't call myself, but everyone calls me like the white sheep of the family. You know what I mean? Like everyone was so much cooler. Like both my parents like smoked and grew pot. And, like my sister got into so much trouble as a teenager, and I was like, I'm gonna get good grades and I'm gonna be in all the after school activities. Like look at me, just jazz hands and tapping, just all the thing. And it was just like.
So by the time you were a teenager and you had figured out, or not figured out, but by the time you get through high school and you kind of have gone through that teenager phase, and whether you rebelled or you just dove into something, was there one thing out of this performance element in this, well, by then your parents were no longer together.
Yeah.
But was there something in particular that was like, this is my passion?
In terms of like performing?
Yeah.
I can just remember, I don't know if something in particular that happened, but I remember in the bathroom as a kid, we had this like huge floor mirror, it was like the sliding mirror on the shower or whatever. And I remember taking all of our very cool towels and like wrapping them around my body like a gown. And I would give myself Oscar speeches to myself in the mirror. I just remember doing like, this is... I can't believe I'm sharing that. But yeah, I just remember thinking like, no, I'm going to be now. And I got a scholarship to go to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York City. Oh. It was like right around the time of 9/11. So like, it was not a very long dream, but I'm so grateful that I couldn't hang, because I really thought like, I'm going to be on Broadway, and I did the whole song and dance, and I can sing, like I could do it all. I got a scholarship to go. I didn't have the confidence to stay there, but I knew I loved that. And so when I got back to California, I kind of dicked around for a little bit, and I was like, I guess you got to get a real job. I think all performers feel that, like, oh, I'm supposed to do a real thing.
Yeah.
But instead of fighting it, I found a radio broadcasting school in Huntington Beach in Orange County, California, and what a blessing that was. 3 months into the 7-month program, I was interning. I had a full-time job before I even graduated. And I had instructors come through, and like they would hear, and they're like, you're really good at this. And I just followed that, and I just went, and I followed it all over the country and made some amazing friendships, connections. And I hope I made people laugh. And I think that's where I figured out wordplay and how to like be myself without being seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like learning how to write is where I did that. Learning how to produce live events, right? Why is this important for a business? Why does the audience care? Why would, fellow radio broadcasters want to come out? So it's like all that stuff that we think about in comedy, I was just doing it behind a microphone where no one could see me.
Yeah.
And so to get on stage and do stand-up was such an easy transition because I already had all those tools. Now I just had to figure out like, well, you can see me, so I have to, and people forget this sometimes, like audiences make judgments on you before you even open your mouth, all those things. So from how quickly you get to the mic after your name is introduced, to like the shoes that you're wearing, all of those things matter so much. And maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a female, and I don't think our male counterparts think about it as much as we might, but yeah, so I don't know if there was one particular thing that was like, yep, you're a performer. I think I just didn't know how to do anything else.
Yeah. So did you think that it was a matter of, because it was very telling to me that you chose the words that you didn't have to be seen when you were doing the radio stuff, and you mentioned that you weren't confident and that you think that that's why you left the program in New York.
Oh, yeah.
That it just
Have you ever put on a leotard? It is humiliating. It is humiliating. And listen, at 18, 19 years old, I had nothing to be humiliated about, but it was very exposing.
Yeah.
And I was not ready to see myself like that. Now, all day, like I take like pinup shoots, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I don't care now. Like we're all going to die. You know what I mean? Like I'm never going to get hotter. This is the hottest I'm going to be for the rest of my life. So it's like, now, you want to see my bra? Let's look at it.
So it took your life to get you to have your confidence level even up to the confidence level you were gaining through the radio work.
Yeah.
To then be like, oh, I'm good on stage. I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't tell anybody the first time I did it. I was going through a divorce at the time, and I was like, I got stuff to say that you can't say on the radio, And so I just signed up. I didn't tell anybody, and I was like, oh, no one hated it. That was fun. I'm going to do that again. And then it became an addiction, and then it became oh yeah, this is a part of who I wanted to be when I went to New York to become an actor the first time. And I just needed this like 15-year detour, this professional detour, which has done nothing but serve me well.
Yeah.
So.
Was your first comedy performance, stand-up comedy performance in California?
No, I started in Champaign, Illinois. I was working out there as a radio personality. I had gotten married in Illinois. We bought a house together, and I thought, oh, I'm doing the thing. I went back to school. I went and got a bachelor's degree in sociology because I was like, I had gotten fired from one of the jobs, and I was like, well, got a house now, like got responsibilities, like I should probably do a real person job. Yeah. And then as soon as I graduated, we got married a month later, and I was like, I don't want to do anything else. Like I'm really good at radio, and I know I can make a living sustaining that. And so built a studio in our basement for me. I wound up getting a job not too long after that because I was like, I'll do voiceover at the same time. And that was kind of my first exploration of like doing that side of, and then I realized like I was making a lot of decisions for our life without him. And I was like, that's not super fair. And then he very much wanted the white picket fence with the kids and the thing. And I was like, oh no, probably should have talked about this more. He was such a wonderful friend. You know, he's a good person, a wonderful friend. We were just young and didn't talk about what we really wanted.
Yeah.
We'd been together for so long. It was like, when you're together for 5 years, what do? You ask someone to marry you. And when someone asks you to marry them, you say yes. You know, like that was it. And it's just like, yeah, maybe we didn't need to do all that. So
Yeah. So Champaign, Illinois is college town, right?
it is, yeah.
So you were how old, may I ask, when you started stand-up?
I was 31.
So
Yeah, 31.
Married?
I was married at 29. We separated at 31 fully. Yeah. Okay. Married at 29, 30. Yeah, so maybe it was 30.
So you've gone through stuff, and you're doing stand-up in front of college kids. What I'm imagining in my mind, I'm sure
There's some
Champaign
townies
is more
there,
than,
but yeah. Yeah. But the thing is like I was a college kid too. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that's
many of my
true.
friends like were students there also. So I was just an old student.
Yeah.
Which felt like I was really old at the time, but now,
Good Lord, no.
yeah, now I'm like, oh, ugh, if I had to go back today, that would be, ugh.
Did you feel like that spark when you did it that first time? Because you said that, the response was good and you felt good about it. Did the spark hit like right away?
Oh yeah, when people laugh, yeah, you chase that high forever.
Yeah.
That first time, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think part of it too was like I was doing improv comedy with some friends in town, and we were a big deal. And I had because of my radio background, I was working for a station at the time, and Jesse and Justin Tuttle, who kind of run Champaign or CU comedy in that town, they put on a big festival at the time. It was like 5 days, 9 shows. It was awesome to go to all those shows, and I helped do a lot of the marketing and promoting, which is what they wanted. That was my part. And then our improv group got to be part. So I watched all those shows, and I remember thinking, I was like, there were like 3 or 4 women that came through here that were not improv. I don't like that. And instead of like getting mad about it, I was like, I should do this. I should do it. And I just did. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't tell anybody. And then all of a sudden, like months later, people are like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, what is happening?
What took you out of Champaign?
I call her my sister, but my very best friend and her husband were starting to have kids. And I was like, yeah, I want to be around the family. Aww. I want to be around them. And they were back in Orange County. And so I was like, yeah, it's time. I can.
Yeah. We're
getting divorced. There's no reason. I felt like I hit the ceiling in radio. And yeah, that's why I went back. I was like, yeah, it's time to, let's follow this stand-up thing.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the acting roots. That's what I wanted to do. And see what happens.
Yeah. So you were calculating. You knew that, LA area.
Yeah.
It's where you act. It's where you do stand-up. It's
yeah, you do stand-up to be seen while you're waiting for your acting career to take off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what you do. Except like I was just so much better at stand-up. It was easier. It was more fun. I was producing 4 shows a month doing, it was a lot of stuff. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I made a big deal in LA. I made a splash, I think.
So this is where I throw out the random trivia that a comic that I interviewed last year, he made this observation about the LA versus OC, because I'm Californian, so
yeah.
Orange County,
yep.
OC.
Yeah.
The difference between those two scenes. Mm-hmm. You go to LA to be seen, but you do comedy in OC to actually work on your stuff. Because there's more time, more opportunities in Orange County, and it's much harder to get stage time in Los Angeles.
I think that's all depending on like where you look. I don't think it's any more difficult to get stage time in Austin.
Yeah.
Orange County is just very different because it's very Republican. They're hidden behind what's called like the orange curtain. So LA is very liberal, and if you don't speak like people in LA, it is difficult to get stage time. And Orange County does tend to give you longer sets, which is a great space to like work out. But I don't remember feeling like in LA, like, oh, I couldn't work on jokes or like work on whatever. Then again, I also like made spaces for myself to do that. So I don't.
How do you do that in LA? I mean, it's just so big.
What do you mean?
So my vantage point or my point of data is the Comedy Bureau. Like, because I like to see other sites that post shows. And that website, I mean, there's hundreds of shows a day.
I know.
And
Jake something. I can't remember his last name, but Jake, he works so hard on that. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't even know how.
And I just think, oh gosh, it must be so hard to figure out who to talk to. But you did say you created your own space.
That's part of it too. Is like you want stage time, you make a stage and you share. It's no different than here in Austin. It's the same.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you want to go up, make a space, and then you trade.
Yeah.
Like that's what he did. And I went up a lot. I wasn't hungry for like, oh, I need to go.
What kind of shows did you create over there?
Okay, I'm glad you asked because I'm so glad you asked because I can't wait to bring it to Austin. But there's two. One called the Challenge Mic, which I'm working on bringing back here to Austin. It's an improv style mic, and it really is just like a wonderful workout space for comics where you don't come up with any prepared material and you just come in with an open mind and you pick topics out of a bucket and you just riff. You can storytell, weave it into your own jokes, doesn't matter. Like it's your time, your 5 minutes, you play. But what's great is like it really is like a writing mic. And when you listen to other comics, you don't know what they're going to say because it is all improvised. And it's such a great way to like spark, that reminds me of, whatever. Yeah. I can't tell you how many jokes I've written because of that, that mic. So I'm working on that and I'm very close to having that up here in Austin. Anyway, and then the second one was a show called Comics and Chaos, which I have quite a punk rock heart and soul. And so one of my very good friends, Adam Mays, he ran a music open mic, which I thought was a comedy open mic. And I walked in, it was very early on in my LA days. And he was like, oh, you're hilarious. Do you want to produce shows for me before I put these bands up? And so Adam and I became very good friends. And he came up with this concept called Comics and Chaos. And so we were producing these rad shows with just like alt comics, like very like grungy, underground, dirty, like just shocked comics. And so it was about a 50-minute show of comedy and then maybe about an hour because it'd be like 4 comics, about 15 minutes apiece. And then he would put together like 2 live bands after that. And it just, I don't know, the punk rock spirit of it all. Like it's so much fun. So he just hit me up and he was like, we're coming to Austin, baby. We're going to do this. And I'm like, I can't wait. So those are 2 big things that I think are going to make some waves in the scene. I'm so excited. Yeah. Yeah.
In the middle of this timeline, you decided that you were going to self-teach yourself playing guitar. Because I know you as Maggie with her guitar.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you. I can't even think if I've seen you without your guitar.
It's in my car right now. I was debating whether or not to bring it for this too. I was gifted my very first guitar when I was 15. A high school sweetheart. I'll never forget him, Paul. What a lovely human. And I don't know why he gifted it to me. I think I just had an idea. Like I was like, I think I want to try this. And so he bought me an acoustic guitar and I just learned. I just taught myself at 15. Strung together. The first song I ever learned how to play was Blues Traveler, Run Around. This is like one of those weird things. And that's the only 4 chords that you need to learn how to play songs. So I'm not very good at guitar. I have not progressed since I was 16 years old. I literally play the same notes. You know what I mean? That's it. That's
the secret.
I am
that's
not
the secret.
But where I lack in a musicianship, I think I'm very clever and creative in parodying. And I heard an interview with Alicia. I feel like I'm talking so much. I heard an interview with Alicia Keys, and she said when she was like 10 years old, she'd been playing for 3 or 4 years, but when she was 10, she was learning all these other songs, and she started rearranging some of it, slowing it down, speeding it up, and she would take other people's songs and kind of turn it into her own music. So she was writing songs that way. I was like, that's what I do. That's okay. If Alicia Keys does it, I can do that. I was like, yeah, I'll take Run Around and like play it backwards, and then that's a new song. Or I just took out one chord and that became the conspiracy theory song. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, that's it. That's all that it is. It's like the same 4 chords. That's it. And you just play them in a different order or like a different tempo or like, well,
Where along this process did you start layering in the comedy or the parody elements?
It was like right before the pandemic.
Okay.
I was living with my boyfriend at the time, another comedian, and I hadn't played in a while, and I just started pulling it out because I was fighting depression, and for me, like, when you just lose yourself in the instrument and the music, like you just feel that sadness, that like hurt leave you.
Yeah.
And it was easier to put it there. Anyway, so after a couple months of like just learning new songs and like getting excited about learning music and singing for myself, he would start doing things and I would just start narrating his day through song, and I would just be parodying the songs that I knew. Like, I wish you would step back from that microwave, my friend, like weird stuff like that. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, oh, this is really funny. And it took me a good 4 or 5 times bringing a guitar to an open mic to try this. And I remember comics being like, oh, you're going to try that again? Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was like, I got to do it. And, yeah, and so it wasn't too long, and then the pandemic hit, and so then I was like, but I got ideas. and then I made a little LP out of my voiceover booth studio. I don't know, it's probably not very, I haven't listened to it. I'm terrified too. This is like 5 songs on there, and I did it like Weird Al did, and I like reached out to all these like musicians. I was like, hey, I want to make your song into a parody, and a couple of them were like, okay, whatever. And then Miranda Lambert's people were like, they were like, we cannot confirm or deny this request, but we hope to see you at a show sometime soon. And I was like,
gosh.
I'm not taking that as a no.
Yeah.
Like that is not a no. Yeah.
I do wonder about that process of, you're taking somebody else's song and work and
Yeah.
kind of.
I was like, listen, if Weird Al did it, he had to do it at some point where like he wasn't famous. So I can do it too.
Yeah.
And I want to do it the right way.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah. When did you move to Austin?
December 2020.
Okay. Gosh.
Yeah. Time flies.
Why did you move to Austin?
Oh, God. Well, so my best friend / sister, who's not really my sister, they migrated out here about 5 or 6 years ago. Her parents came out here. His dad's out here. His brother is out here. My second family is what I call them. And so I came out here too. I mean,
Did you know about the Austin comedy scene?
I mean, I performed here. So like there's a few comics that I like booked me before. Mike Eaton and Ali Wojciech, they would perform in LA often, so I got to know them that way, and they've both been very kind in like welcoming me here and like making the transition easier.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like the lease was up, the boyfriend and I broke up, and I was just like, where am I gonna go? What else am I gonna do? So yeah, I didn't want to stay in LA. There was nothing to do there. Nothing was happening. Everything was shut down with no hope of it.
But not December 20.
December 2020?
Wait, God, it's been that long, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got here, and you guys were already like phasing out masks. You're like, yeah, no, this is not a thing.
It's the wild, wild west.
Pretty much. And you were like, okay, we'll have a show outdoors.
Yeah.
Fine. But nobody was doing the mask thing here. It was terrifying to be honest. I was like, oh my God, I'm damaged.
Especially with in comparison to California, which is, it's been very hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was just, what else am I going to do? Where am I going to go? You know what I mean? Like, who else do I know? I'm not going to Illinois. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, we moved to Florida. I was there for like a month. And, yeah, and I was like, I'm not staying in Florida. Like, I'm not doing that. And I didn't want to go back to California. So I was like, yeah. Texas, here I come.
I'm curious about your observation of the LA comedy scene versus the Austin comedy scene.
What do you mean?
Well, just what was... I know that you have the prism of it's in the middle of the pandemic. So during that period, that fall, winter of 2020, I saw the Austin comedy scene like completely transform into something different than it was before the pandemic. But comparing this gigantic comedy scene in LA to our now nearing gigantic stages.
No, this is a big deal. Austin is a big scene.
Yeah.
It's complicated because we don't have a lot of clubs yet.
Yeah.
But LA, like, you had the Comedy Store, the Improv, the Ha-Ha, like there's so many clubs. Flappers is out there. It's just like, and it's the same as it is here. If you don't go to those clubs and hang out at those mics and like put in your time and like be the bottom man on the totem pole, you're not going to get booked there.
Yeah.
Which feels the same here. Like if you don't go to Creek in the Cave and you don't hang out and you don't do the mics, you don't do the 3-minute speed mic. If you don't do that, like you're not going to get booked there. Right. Unless you know someone that's producing a show there and you happen to be lucky. But then you got to do the work just like you do it in LA.
Right.
Like you've got to promote your shows. You've got to bring people to these shows. You've got to be remembered. You can't be just funny anymore. Like there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
And that's LA. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. Do you like to perform without your guitar?
Sometimes. It's harder. I feel funnier with the guitar.
Yeah.
But I will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just wonder if it's become like this extension of you.
Yeah.
That, it's like we were talking early on, like your voice changed throughout your comedy career. Yeah. And now you with the guitar, it's your voice.
It's funny. I don't think I'm a funny person. I don't think I'm funny. Like I hear these songs, I'm just like, oh God. You know what I mean? But someone told me very early on, like, if you can't be funny, be interesting. And I think I have that nailed down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's clever, it's witty, fine. But is it funny? Like, is it funny? I don't know. I don't know. It's a gamble every time on stage. I'm like, well, we'll see what these folks think. Yeah. I just hope for the best. I don't know. Is that unusual? Do you feel like that? Like,
Oh, yeah. And I think that's why, well, it's the advantage of age, too, where it's like, I know my place. I can't compete with the 20-year-old comic. Mm-hmm. But I do know that I'm interesting.
Yeah.
I may not be funny.
Yeah.
But I do think I am an interesting person.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of putting that into a neat package on stage somehow.
Yeah.
When I get back to it.
You are. You do.
Yeah.
This is part of it. This is it.
Yeah.
I touched it. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I touched her computer mic that's holding all the data. It's fine. It just got wiped out. No big deal. That's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's take a quick break here. Not for an ad, I wish. But as I mentioned...
If you could have this sponsored by anyone, who would you have it sponsored by?
Oh, boy.
Don't say Taco Bell.
No.
I was like...
I think what would be really hilarious, to be honest, is if I could be sponsored by Me Undies, because the idea of me, like I'm already pre-blushing at the thought.
Yeah, you are.
Reading an ad for an underwear company.
Yes.
I just don't know that I could get through it with a straight face.
You could.
But I think it would be funny.
Do you see those ads on Instagram and like stare at them for an uncomfortably long amount of time? I do. I do.
I must not be looking at the right things because I'm not getting any MeUndies ads.
Listen, you got to like put it out now that we're talking about it. Your phone's going to hear it.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I absolutely, and I will confirm with you after this.
I love that
interview that I bet you it is.
Well, listen, now that you put it out there,
Yeah.
it's possible.
MeUndies, yeah.
MeUndies. I love that's what you came up with. Would you like get your cat like a MeUndies?
Oh my
too?
God, totally.
Yeah, because that's the point. Is like you match your underwear.
Oh yeah, and my boyfriend too. He would get like he has so much. I've bought him so many. Like he's got a blanket that has her face all over it. He's got a little picture frame with her. Yeah, so I would totally get him.
You know what you should get your boyfriend? Is he have a good sense of humor?
Oh,
this is like
absolutely.
my favorite test for like any dude. Get him a face potato. It is my favorite thing.
What the hell is a face potato?
You just take a picture of him. It is the best gift ever. And then like, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm pretty sure it's like facepotato.com. And you just, they take the picture and his face is on a potato. And then they mail you the potato with his face on it. See, you have a great sense of humor. It is like the best joke ever.
I'm doing that 100%.
Oh my God, face potato. I can't. It's my favorite.
I have to write this down. He doesn't listen to this.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
He retweets and shares everything that we put out there, but he doesn't listen to the podcast, so he'll never know.
I need to like find this website now. I'm so funny.
Well, so where I was going is we're going to take a break because Richard, our web guru, he got me this Where Should We Begin game. And I don't play it as a game, but what I do is I pick out 2 cards from the deck, and it's just a prompt.
Okay.
So pick from left or right, and you have to tell me your left or your right, because otherwise I won't know which one you want.
I'm whatever that is.
Okay, whatever this one is. All right, so your
My
prompt.
right, your left.
Oh boy.
I'm nervous. Also, I just looked at the website, by the way, and it's potatoparcel.com.
Potato parcel. Okay. Now, if they could be a sponsor,
Oh my God.
wouldn't that be
I want
just
them
the
to like
best?
sponsor my life.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
face potato.
All right, here's your prompt.
Okay.
A conversation I need to have with my parents.
Ew. Ugh.
Or we could pick the other card. There's no
Curious.
rules.
I know. I was like, this is deep shit. The pandemic did weird things. Like I finally like am having a wonderful relationship with my mom. Like finally.
Wow.
And now my dad, all of a sudden, who I always thought was like this intelligent human being and like read between the lines and would like get both sides, he's just let the news like make him afraid. And now I just can't stop myself. He'll say things and I'm like, nobody's arguing that climate change isn't real, Dad. No one's arguing that. Just like, I don't know why. I can't stop myself. You know what I mean? Like he got so angry with me because I got COVID twice. Once when I first got to Austin and then back in like December, just a couple months ago. But I had the vaccine. I've gotten it. I'm fully vaxxed.
Yeah.
But when it first came out, I was like, Dad, I'm just gonna wait. I've had COVID. Like I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm just gonna wait and see. I knew I was going to Europe. I knew if I had to, I would get it.
Yeah.
And that basically like, I was written out of the will. I was
gosh.
so angry all of a sudden. I was like, I don't know what I did, Dad. Like, you just let the news terrify. And I think we're all victim to that, just being terrified. But now, like, we're slowly starting to, like, talk again. And anything that comes up that's, like, new, global warming seems to be, like, a big hot topic right now. And he's just like, yeah, global warming's real. It's like, nobody is denying that it's real, Dad. Like, I can't help myself. It's like, poke the bear. What's wrong with me? I didn't have to say that. I didn't have to be, it's just, I could have let him just talk. No, I'm being a jerk. I don't know.
Oh, parents.
I think I think I feel sad for my dad. Like, I see him and he's not a happy person, like he's in this job. Like he was telling me, he was like, Maggie, I was at such and such company for 16 years. I've been at this company for 22 years. How many years is that? I'm like, 38, Dad. He's like, yeah. And I've been paying a mortgage for 38 years. a standard mortgage is 30 years. Why am I still paying a more? Like he was just like
Oh,
miserable, and like his wife works so hard. So they don't hang out as much as I'm sure he'd like. He's living in a city where like he doesn't really know many people, but it's just like, I don't think he's a happy person. And he told me, he's like, I'm too old to make any big changes at this point. I'm like, you're not, Dad. You're not. You're 60. Like, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want.
Yeah. It's daunting. I can tell you that. It's daunting to make big changes.
I don't know. It just breaks my heart. I'm just like, how do I meet him where he's at with compassion?
Yeah. Oh, I get that.
I don't want to fight. We're all going to die. I don't want you to die tomorrow, Dad. And like, the last thing I said to you was like, no one's arguing about climate change. Like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Let it go. But I can't. I don't know why. I just can't. I can't.
Nobody's arguing.
Does that answer the question? Was that? I don't know. You have to read it.
I have to read it.
Yeah. She made a face. She pulled up the other card and she made this like
crazy.
scrunchy face.
This is so crazy. Did you watch me read?
She just picked 2 off the top. What does it say?
My experience with death has been.
Stop it. Ugh. I can't.
Not mine. Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It never is. I mean, is there ever a death that happens under good conditions?
Yeah, when it's not violent.
Yeah, but.
Do you think if you were to die tomorrow, like you'd be like, you'd meet like the gatekeeper, whoever, you know what I mean? Like, do you think you'd be like, yeah, like you come out of your body and you're looking down, and you're like, I did good. Do you think it'd be like that, or you'd be like, oof, I wish I got like 5 more years to finish?
I'm raising a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be beside myself.
Yeah.
That.
Oof.
I can't.
Yeah.
Be there for.
God, that adds a whole nother layer of fucked upness.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because if anybody has not ever pieced this together, I'm his only parent. So he lost his dad.
Oh my
A
God.
few years back, and so I'm all he's got. He's got a stepmom, so that's good. But I am,
It's you, 24/7.
Yeah. So it would.
That's so hard.
Yeah. There's no way I could see it as anything other than, God, I had so much unfinished work
Yeah.
to do. He's a great kid, incredible kid, but yeah.
Like what else? Like what's one thing that you're like, oh, I can't leave before he knows this or fully gets this?
I think, I mean, we joke about this. I tell him, the moment you graduate high school, you're out of here. I'm kicking you out. Because by then, if I haven't done my job, then I really fucked up. You should be an independent child or adult person.
So he can do his own laundry.
Do his own
He can make his own grilled cheese.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, but he'll know how to drive through a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Drive through.
Yeah.
No.
Uber Eats,
yeah.
we know how to push buttons.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah. So.
yeah, that certainly adds a whole nother layer of just like
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why I had to put the comedy on hold, because during COVID, whenever the kids are, learning from home, nobody's going into campus. His dad is gone, so we were the best co-parents. It was kind of like one of those things where we divorced. We should have just been co-parents all along, because we were so incredible co-parents, and his stepmom was fantastic, is fantastic. And
I love that you can speak that way about them.
yeah,
That's wonderful.
we
You don't hear
were-
that very often.
Yeah, and it will hit from time to time, like how sad it was to lose that, because there's nothing that we all 3 loved more than walking into a parent-teacher conference, and it's like, I'm so confused. 2 moms, 1 guy, what's happening?
Yeah.
And, knowing that we were like this allied front when it came to our son.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when his dad passed, it's like I lost that, every other weekend kind of thing to be able to go out. And it's like, that's fine, because my number 1 job is mom.
Yeah.
And now that things are opening back up a little bit and he's getting older,
Yeah.
it's just managing things. Because
Like what's
why
one
is
thing?
this turning into my therapy session?
Years of radio. What's like one more question. What's one thing that you're like, when you talk about your son, you're like so proud of? You're like, oh, he is this.
I have to only pick one.
I know.
I think I love that is intellectually curious,
Oh, yeah.
because that is so important
Yeah.
to me. Because we now, especially, it's really cool as a teenager. Now it's really cool because we can be having this conversation. We were actually talking about the whole Ukraine
Yes.
and Russia
Yeah.
thing, and he's debated on the topic in the last couple of years. And we were talking about it this weekend, and he's like, "Okay, hang on." So searching online for some information. And
Yeah.
it's like, "Well, did you know about this and this?" So it's like, "Oh, that's cool. You don't want to just have like this high level conversation. You actually are wanting to dig deep." And it comes across with so many things. It's
Yeah.
not,
And that's
it's
so
cool.
important because so many people we just like read these headlines and we're
Yeah.
just triggered to feel a certain way. It's like, why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Go deeper.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So
What a cool human you
he
made.
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
hiding, doing homework, bless his heart.
On a Sunday afternoon. That is,
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that, but Sunday afternoon for me, I was making plays. That's what I was
Yeah.
doing. Yeah. Important things.
What? So you have some designs on bringing a couple of your shows to the Austin scene.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like one of them is like on the cusp of happening, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You were in this movie? My gosh, we haven't even talked about.
Yeah.
And you have acted.
Yeah.
And this
Like a fool.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Sorry.
How is it pursuing acting while you're here, which isn't, it's not the LA scene of,
Yeah.
there's this film every other
Yeah.
corner.
So I had an agent in LA who was wonderful. Like, what a wonderful human being. And if he had the opportunity, he would come out to support at comedy shows. He's passed away just recently. But when I moved here, I couldn't work with the agent in LA because of COVID protocols, because I couldn't just jump on a plane because all the sets, you'd have to be like COVID safe restrictions and
Yeah.
a certain amount of testing. Like, there's so much that you have to do behind the scenes to be tested and beyond.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I got here and I wound up signing with Acclaim Talent, which is a big deal in this town.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people are with them. And Jason is wonderful. And I remember the very first conversation that we had that made me fall in love with him is how COVID has changed the pipeline for people. And so if you were in LA or New York, you were with the big agency, whatever it is, Williams, Morris, or whatever it is, CAA, whatever. And that's how you got to do these very tiny little bit parts. They call them 5 unders, where you read 5 lines or under for big shows like Grey's Anatomy, like those CSI, whatever those are. And that's how you kind of break in to those small bit parts. But you don't have to do that anymore. And productions are leaving. There's so many in New Mexico. There's so many in Georgia, right? There's a lot that was happening here. Texas Rocket Ranger, whatever it's called. There's so many of them all over the place because it's so expensive to film in California. You need a permit for everything. And he was like, you don't need to do that. And I love Jason so much, and I told him right off the bat, I was like, I don't want to do TV shows. I don't have the focus for that. I just can't. I can't show up and that's where the money is, which is the crazy part. But I was like, I can't do a TV show. I can't be the same character for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, listen. If a Friends came along, you know what I mean? Like, if that show came along and was like, this is you, I'm not going to say no. That's not what I want to do, right? Like with voiceover, I get a project and I do it and then I'm done. And then it's on to the next thing. And then I get to play another character. I play another audiobook. I do another thing. So I was like, unless it's a movie where you focus on it for a month, 2, 3 months, whatever it is, and then you get to move on, right? I don't have the attention span to do those long projects like that. I'd get bored so easily. So he's been sending me, I'll tell you, I probably audition like 2 or 3 times a month in LA, which is not a lot. Here, I'm auditioning 2 to 3 times a week,
Oh, wow.
which is a
Yeah.
lot. Bless him. And it's a lot of commercials, but it's like, I'm happy to do
Yeah.
it. I'm so happy to do it. It's fun. It is so fun.
Yeah.
And they are like quirky little part. Like I did a dog trainer audition last week. You know, like what does that even look like? You know? But yeah, that's up to that's your imagination. That's what you do. So your job is to audition. And I feel like I'm doing it more here than I ever was in LA because the pipeline is not there. You know, like it's just not, it's kind of like, how hard do you want to hustle? How bad do you want it? And so like self-isolated, there is an element of like, if you want to be in movies, you want to act, you got to do it yourself. You learn all these other things. You learn how to direct, you learn how to set dress, you learn how to costume, you learn how to cast, you learn how to make all these things happen in order to act. And so the guy I was with, Chad Ridgely directs, and he wrote this incredible film. Like it is so beautifully written.
Yeah.
And his whole idea was just use what you have. And there was a very tiny window in LA in the summer of 2020, about 2 weeks, and we just nailed it on the head where we filmed pretty much in our apartment that whole time.
Wow.
It was like 10 days of shooting in our apartment and in the building. And then we did on set, like in different locations. There was like 3 different locations for 3 other days. So, man, it was intense. It was so intense, but...
Well, you were talking about auditioning for parts, auditioning for commercials, auditioning for a movie. Why the hell did you jump into I'm just going to make my own start to finish and jump into all of the roles, not just the acting part, but all of them?
Yeah. Well, because Chad and I were together at the time. And when your partner makes something that you're excited about, like, yeah, you're excited about it too. And I wanted to help him see this project through.
Yeah.
And it's so beautifully shot. We got really lucky. The cinematographer is kind of a new and upcoming guy. Justin, he's incredible. Like he's incredible and kind of in high demand now. So I think we got him early and we got him cheap, you know, which is the way to do it. And so it was a very bare bones crew of like 5 people and very small cast. And and I did it because he was excited about it. We were in the pandemic. What was I doing? I made an album, you know, like I did that. He wrote this. And then, you know, I didn't need much help to like do my thing. But he, you know, making a movie is a team effort. It's always a team effort. So, yeah.
So what do you have on the horizon that if you could choose being funny on a stage or landing a movie, and you could only choose one?
Oh my God, I hate you. The movie. I love comedy. Like it's so fun, and I love going on the road, and I love meeting fans. But it is so hard on your body. Like it's hard to say. You know, I just got back from the road like a couple days ago, and I'm about to leave again in a couple days, and it's like I miss my apartment, you know, and like, and I do want to fall in love, and I do want to like have my own family, whatever that looks like, and it's so hard to do that when you're on the road. But when you're working on a film, you either get to come home every night, or you know, like there's a certain end point. You know what I mean? Like you've signed a contract. This is what I'm going to make. And it's, you know, it's a sprint, you know, to get this done. And then you get to come home and relax until you're ready to go make another thing.
Yeah.
So.
How do you feel about festivals?
Film festivals?
Yeah, no, comedy festivals.
Into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The Plano Comedy Festival, I got accepted into last October, but they decided to like push it back till next year, which was like a big bummer. One of my favorites, Dan Bublitz, I don't know if you know him, but he runs one up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's called like the Snow Jam Festival. But the year I went, it happened to be like 55 degrees in January, and it was all to raise money for Special Olympics, which is a cause that I've spent a lot of time working with and raising funds for. So it just felt good. And, you know, like you get to meet other comics and like, like when you do go on vacation and you run through and you're like, who do I know out here? And then you jump on a show and you do your 5 minutes and it's, I don't know, it's fun. Yeah. So those are cool. It's a cool way to network. Yeah. What do you think? Are you into it?
I think so. For different comics, festivals mean different things. Like for them, it's a great way to just be out and networking, and maybe they can't get It's not that they can't get stage time. Maybe they can't get consistent stage time, but they know that they can put something together to get onto a festival, so that gives them more opportunities outside of the city. And others are like, oh, I'll never submit to a festival. Festival can ask me, and it's
I get it, because you're
Yeah.
paying money to
yeah.
But it's not
So-
like it just goes into the pocket of like these people watching.
right. Yeah.
It goes to like support live comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited because we actually just got in as onto the, oh God, I wish me luck on saying this, the Lysistrata Comedy Festival that Rochelle and some of her other New Orleans
That's amazing.
friends are putting together.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
When is that?
That is next month, the 19th, and I'll be interviewing a couple of headliners at the festival. Yeah, I'm not doing stand-up. I'm Comedy Wham Presents.
Yeah. Did you know that with this, I'm just going to throw this little tidbit to you, but with this podcast, Comedy Wham podcast, you could go to like Just for Laughs. You could submit for a press pass and go interview all those people. You could go to South by. You know what I mean? And say like, I want a behind the scenes. Right. You can. Like when you have a podcast, I can't tell you how many times I've done this. Right?
Maggie, I can and I have. I mean,
okay, good. Okay,
yes,
good.
yes.
She's
I've
like,
been
you're
covering
preaching. Okay,
Moon
good.
Tower and
Okay, good. You already
South
know.
by is kind of weird because they don't publish their comedy
Okay.
acts until like the last minute, and then I have to be lucky if I can actually connect with them. But Moon Tower it's far easier to.
Okay, good. Okay,
So,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Hell yeah.
sure. And
You're
it's
such a star.
One day I'd love to get invited to more festivals.
Yeah, but you can also just submit and say like, oh, I feel like going to Canada. I'm going to go to Just for Laughs. I just want to see.
Yeah,
I wanna...
that's like bucket list item. I'd love to be able to do that.
You
Just
can.
to see. Well,
You can.
I can. It's
You can.
the logistics of making that happen.
That's easy. That's all figure outable. Like that's all figure outable.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. That's big
I'm excited
stuff.
for you.
Thank you.
What have we not talked about that you want people to know about Maggie?
Other than I think we're all going to die. And like, I wonder what the hell the point of this all is. Listen, I'm spending all of my money right now trying to make music videos to make people laugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's big.
Yeah. Actually, off the mic, I'm going to ask you to be in my next music video. I'm going to tell you what it's all about and like what it
I'm
means.
excited.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
But yeah, that's like the next like big project for
Yeah.
me on the horizon.
Because that's a mini movie. You can
Yeah.
work on it and you move on.
I know, they're so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun because it's all my brain, and everyone that I tell this about
Yeah.
to, they're just like, oh, I can't wait to be a part of it. So I hope that you feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like where I've transitioned. Like I've got a script in my head of like another feature length film I want to write, but it's kind of taking a back burner because like I've got all these music videos. Like I've just been writing a lot of songs, and I don't know what that means, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll help me get booked somewhere and do more comedy.
Yeah.
Give me enough like you do, like Aquafina, like she's kind of a hot deal right now. Like she made a bunch of music videos and now she's an Avenger. You know what I mean? So it's like that could happen for me too. You never know. You never know. Just put it out there. Put it out there.
Yeah. And the musician comic is a rare breed. And so they're always, there's always people that are interested in checking them out. So, that festival thing seems like that'd be cool for you too. You know?
I can't wait.
Oh, Maggie, she's got a guitar. Let's go check her out.
Yeah, either that or like, ugh, she needs a guitar to be funny. That's not good.
No.
Can't be good.
Oh.
Hack comic.
Well, we are going to start wrapping up.
This has been really fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're such a delight. Like, and it's nice to be able to chat with you more than just like at the shows, when everything's busy and we're working and like, like the network. I mean, that's all part of it. So it's nice to have like a nice intimate conversation with you.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. And that's why I started the podcast, is because this was my tagline way back when, is I wanted to get to know the people off stage just as much as I wanted to see them on stage.
I love that.
So, Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's why I love that, at a show that I go to, when they come out of the green room, they're like, hug.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. Hugs are the best.
Yeah.
Losing hugs during the pandemic sucked.
Yeah.
So,
Did you get a weighted blanket?
no, she just sleeps on me.
The cat. That's how I got through it. A weighted blanket.
That makes sense. I dig that.
Yeah.
I dig that.
I dig this. I dig you. I dig Comedy Wham. I'm into it. Support Valerie.
All right, let's close out. Wrap up here. One word to describe your future.
Ooh. One word to describe my future. I want to say death, but that's not going to describe all of it. Open. Yeah.
That works. Yes and open. Yes and.
I know. You said only one word. Otherwise, I would have
Yeah.
said yes and. Improv 101.
That is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Maggie Mayfield. Tell us where we can find you and promote your upcoming shows, projects.
Besides potatoparcel.com?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm at MaggieMayfield.com. Maggi. There's no E. Mayfield.com.
Very good. Very succinct. And we look forward to seeing you at the showcase.
I'm so
in
excited.
April.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. We made it 1 year.
I know.
We hope you've enjoyed learning about how Maggie got to be the comedic genius that you heard today just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Maggie Mayfield. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.